Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to today's live stream. Today, we're going to be talking about a topic that is near and dear to my heart because, well, it tells us so much about the stories that the stock is telling us, or really, well, whatever it is that it's telling us, whether you're trading stocks, options, whether you're trading crypto, whether you're trading Forex too. The clues that volume can tell us that it's been such a game changer, and it really is the language of the market. And it's one of the things that has enabled me to it's been transformative, to be quite honest. The Being able to read volume and in relation to the price action is one of the things that's allowed me to participate in moves in crypto, so in Bitcoin and Ethereum, uh, Doge last year, Litecoin, seeing those, to be able to participate in moves, to be able to sidestep major corrections when they happen, and to be able to time buys, more than just crypto too, in stocks. Some of the examples that we're going to be talking about, we're going to be talking about a few recent examples that just from the past couple of weeks. Coin, right? So Coinbase. Lots of great volume clues in there. It's a fantastic example. We'll go through it. We're going to talk about a firm, Upstart, which if you've been following, well, one of my personal mentors, Mark Minervini, if you've been following him, you know all about Upstart. But we're going to talk about Upstart and the clues that it's left, and Asan, as well as any of the examples that you bring up. So with that said, um, we've got a chat here. You could communicate with me right here, right now, on the fly. Type in any stock that you are interested in, any stock, any cryptocurrency. If you're a Forex trader, right? Because this gets blasted out to everybody. Put it into the chat, and we will look at it and start to pick apart the different stories that volume is telling us. Also, uh, go ahead and type into the chat too. Let me know where you're watching this from. I like to see where people are watching and tuning in from. Make sure that you hit the like button and subscribe so that way that blasts it out to more people. And finally, if you're watching this on Twitter or YouTube or wherever, share it out. Share it with people that you think can benefit from it. So, all that said, let's talk about the clues that volume can tell us. And let's switch over to some charts. We've got some charts up here. Uh, First one that we're starting with here is Asan. So you start, you look at this and you're like, man, there's a bunch of charts up here. Well, yeah, like so. I find it important to look at volume and to look at volume across time frames. Oh, and look at this. We've got Stu joining us. Gonna add Stu to the live stream. Stu, welcome.
Hi, Mike. Thanks you. Sorry, I missed that at the start of that there.
Yeah, it's all right. You didn't miss much. Just the intro. I'm good at being a chatterbox and just talking a bit. But figure out we could talk a bit about some of the clues that volume gives us. I had a couple of examples to talk through. Um, Coin, Affirm, Upstart, and Asan. I think that those are some good candidates. And for anybody that's here that's watching live, if there's something that you want to talk about, and Akil Stokes joining us and watching the live stream. Welcome, Akil. Yeah, I'd love to see some Forex examples too, because I so much of trading is similar across the board. I'd love to kind of dig into that too in a little bit. So, Akil, if you have some examples for us, please go ahead and let us know. But let's go through Asan. Let's go through Asan. Um, one thing that I like to have up on my screen, it's kind of obvious. Four different time frames, right? Like, so this is one chart, right? Like one stock, a sun, but I'm looking at it on four different time frames. So I'm looking at it on monthly time frames, weekly time frames, daily time frames, and I've got a 30-minute time frame down here. And so I and Stu, let me know if you feel similarly, but I feel as though volume can tell us a story, and it can tell us a story on different time frames, and it's almost not like looking at it from a large global perspective, like a forest level, then drilling down into like individual trees, and then looking at it as the leaves. So like you could start to see like a story, or like almost like changing seasons right there on the chart. Would you agree with that, or phrase it differently, or maybe you've got some other insights to share?
I think it's really important. Volume. You can't really read price without it. It tells you so much. It can tell you how difficult it's going to be to enter or exit a trade, depending, on how thin or how liquid a stock is. So you can look at it from that perspective as to whether you can get in or out easily. It can tell you whether it's really buyers or sellers that are doing most of the work in any kind of given session over a different time frame, in conjunction with reading your chart. It can also tell you whether people are trying to get in or out of a stock in a hurry. So what is that pent up demand? Have they all changed their mind at the same time, or are they, are people just slowly coming to the party? It's also good as a secondary indication as to whether you're on the right track with, a breakout level or a pullback level and that type of thing. And there are various other techniques for looking at volume. But yeah, so I do agree that it's important. You can almost take price off the chart and try and read the volume bars to see what they tell you. But in conjunction with price, it's a very powerful tool.
Yeah, like it. So one of the things too, like the volume, it it's so important because like the major players are the ones that are creating like these big volume spikes on a weekly chart or on a daily chart. Yeah, maybe on the intraday charts, but like these big volume spikes, like it's not the smaller players, the like you and me and probably most of the people watching this. If you happen to manage a multi-billion-dollar hedge fund, type that into the chat. Let us know. But for the most part, we're able to enter and exit on a dime, right? Like, and not have to worry about moving the market. Uh, major players that are moving, trading well with billions, it's they're going to spend some time accumulating or building a position. So when you see these giant volume spikes like this, it, they're they're building a position, and they're unlikely to reverse course right away. It's helpful to think of it like a cruise ship. Right. So if they're the cruise ship and they're going in a certain direction, yes, they have the ability to change course if they want to, but it's going to take them some time to do it. So just like this, if there's major players coming in, it's going to take them some time to reverse course. So you can see like back here, right? Like if we're looking at this, this is a weekly chart of a sun. And the first time that it starts to break out is really like down here. Right? Like you see like how prices coming in, and then it's consolidating, and then it kind of hits its head on this level of resistance over here, comes back in, and then it starts to break out and turn, and it's getting above that red line and staying above that red line. That red line is the 10-week moving average. It's one of the more important moving averages when we're looking at stocks. Um, Well, when it finally like starts to get there and move above it significantly, you notice the volume that starts to come in a little bit higher over here that week that it reported earnings, and the bigger volume starts to come into this, and that's not you and I doing that buying it. It's the bigger players that are doing that, and so that type of volume, it's not you'll see it, but it's not something that you'll necessarily see every single week. And uh, I feel as though well, what often comes up is like, oh, like look at this, like on this week here, like maybe it's helpful if we do the change date feature, the replay feature. So let me click on this, right? And so, oh wow, monster volume, that's fantastic. And then you advance it by one week, you advance it another week, or I think it's advancing by day. Yeah, over here. Yeah, and you start to see volume drift off a bit, right? So volume drifted off there, volume drifted off a bit over here. And what some people start to ask, a common question that I hear a lot is, oh, like it's making a higher high and volume is low. And that tends to be a concern. And the concern is that, volume is drying up. Is the buying done? I think that it's important to realize that yes, there's a lot of demand back here driving it up, but the major players, like they're not uh, like they're aware that if they want to accumulate a certain position at a certain price, like that, they will need to pay up, but they don't want to push the thing to infinity either. So you'll start to see some volume taper off and then a move sideways. That doesn't mean that the move is necessarily done. It just means that for now, it's pausing. And that's kind of what happened in this whole area here. Like price still drifting up, but volume is lower. And then volume starts to pick up again over here. So I like the way that I'm interpreting this is the major players getting in. Maybe they're accumulating some shares, bits and pieces up here along the way, and then you get to the next earnings report, and then that's the next time that many are getting excited and piling in, and there's a stronger sense of urgency to get in, and that's part of what you're seeing too with these volume spikes. Stu, well, what do you think?
I think
What are your thoughts?
well, I tend to look at it as though as almost examples of price acceptance and price rejection. So when you get those big run-ups with the heavy volume, that's people driving the price higher, and it gets to a point where the price is just accepted that is a good market price for that stock, and that's when the volume starts to tail off, and it will kind of then consolidate a little bit. It goes sideways for a while. You can see that in your Asan stock, and the volume comes down until something happens that changes the price acceptance and say this stock's worth more, and then all of a sudden it's going to shoot up again until it reaches that area where of kind of price rejection, if you like, where it said, no, this is too much for it. So it will come in a little bit until it finds its level of price acceptance. And that's when you then start looking at those volume tells to say, look for pocket pivots, these sort of things. Say, when is that price acceptance broken and it's now worth a bit more or less to the downside.
Yeah, also well, with this one too, like something that just caught my eye as well. Like, so you have the volume drying up in this area down here, and then you have earnings towards the end of August. You have that volume spike, and volume stays high even as it sold off a little bit over here, right? And I say that kind of casually, right? Price dropped about 20%. So that for some people holding that's might be a challenging to sit through, but volume still is still present, and even as it's breaking out to fresh highs here, comparing this volume, right, or this whole block. Let me draw like a little area around it. This whole block compared to what it was back here just a few months ago. I like to look at it that way as well, as continued interest in the stock, in the idea.
Yeah, and it can be interesting sometimes if you change your volume view to that of dollar volume, you see slightly different patterns. But as you're seeing volume declining but price kind of creeping higher, then that dollar volume, you can see there's still more money flowing into that stock. Even though the price at the end of your chart there on the last week, the volume bar is nowhere near as big as the one in the middle of your chart, you find the money flowing into the stock is more, it's greater, which is why I quite like using the dollar volume indicator, because you can see how much investment is happening in that stock.
That's interesting. I have a couple of good comments from Akil. Akil writes, the hard part about volume in Forex is the fact that there's no central bank. So any volume that we get is provided directly from the data provider and not necessarily a true read of the whole market. So does that mean, Akila, let me see, do I still have
Because it's a
yeah, I do
distributed
have.
market, Mike, isn't it? Because it's like crypto, it's not, there's no central market.
So this volume here is uh you don't find this kind of volume useful in that regard. Still usable, but we need to keep that in the back of our mind in Forex. All right. Yeah, so to use a crypto example, right? There's a few, like with Bitcoin, for example. Like when it started to break out back here, right? So crypto has been huge, huge for me this year and last year. Um, volume has been one of the big tells for me. Like, well, when it started to break above this line right here, right, and blasting off of the 10-week moving average, the volume starting to pick up and interest starting to come back into it, and volume move, and it was up here, right, like where it it had such a significant move off of these lows out. Like that's a 400% run. And at that point, that's a significant run where if you start to see volume tapering off, to me, I start to question how much is left in the tank, or also perhaps more appropriately, how much room do I want to give it to see if there's still gas left in the tank. So that's why, like around this area here, I'm exiting because I'm unsure of that question. When I find myself asking those kinds of questions, it's just like, yeah, you know what? I'll, I've made up to 400% in this. I gave back about, yeah, like I from 400 down to 300. Okay, like I'll take this, lock it in, and I'm not willing to give more than that back. Part of that is due to the volume action. Let's see what else. Yeah, Keel clarifying that we just have to realize it's different than the stock market. Yep, got it. few more examples to go through too, like AFRM. One of the things too, like you notice that this is a recent IPO, and it IPO'd, and well, when I was talking with Jim Ropel, if you guys were on that live stream, or if you saw that live stream, definitely go check it out. One of the things that he was quick to point out too was that how the volume came in over here, like well, when it was done consolidating and you had that gap up. This is an example where volume is coming in such a major way that the volume dwarfs the IPO volume, which tends to be rare this early in a move. Another tell with volume too, like so. Let's talk about volume when price is pulling back. Stu, well, when volume, so let's say you're looking at this trade here, and you see volume coming in this way. Well, what are you thinking at this point? Like you see a gap up like this, and then you see volume, like volume's minuscule, and prices coming in.
Yeah, I think as I said, that's price being accepted. That is a good price for that name at that time. And particularly, I think on the next pullback, you see, I need to count your bars, but you almost have, you know, I've talked in the past about a reverse pocket pivot. It's essentially the lowest volume in the last 10 days. Normally, that's the day before the move.
The lowest volume in the last 10 days being the pocket pivot. Like, so we don't have that here, but like it's close enough.
No, but further along, obviously you've got your cut with handle. I think you'll see it there. It's could go along a little bit more. Yeah.
Like in
See
there.
that day there that you're on. Yeah, that's normally the day before the move, and so it was, and that's what I kind of look out for. Particularly in a nice orderly pullback like that to a key moving average. That really low volume day, relatively speaking. That would be you would set your buy order then at the high of that day's close.
So when you're seeing a nice orderly pullback like this, so not something that's erratic where prices kind of jumping around like this, but like one bar kind of like overlaps the other bar like this, and it's coming into a key moving average like that purple line. That purple line happens to be a 21-day exponential moving average.
Perfect. Yeah, perfect. Yeah, and you know, you see that lowest volume in the past 10 days, you know, relatively. That's it. Just it's like your coiled spring metaphor that you use. You know, it's coiled right up. It's ready to explode out.
Yeah, and you know what? So that's October 5th. I started buying stocks. Like I was completely in cash for part of October. Actually, let me see how long I've been in cash. So this is the spreadsheet that I use. It looks like my screen is frozen for a minute. Bear with me 1 second over here. You could still see it. I still see you, Stu. Do you still
I can see
see
your
and hear me?
spreadsheet.
Oh, that's funny. Like my mouse is not working.
Well, there you go.
And that was the keyboard. Now the mouse. Trying to get the mouse back, but
yeah, battery.
yeah, right. Oh my goodness. All right. How can I tab over? Because so this is well, what we're looking at is a focus list for uh, today. So each day I go through it and I come up with a list of stocks that I'm interested in for the next day's trading. What I wanted to show, if my mouse will cooperate, like that, yeah, this battery is decently new battery. Guess this is the kind of stuff that can happen on a live stream, right? um, oh my goodness, yeah, the mouse is still like nowhere to be found. All right, so I guess we're looking at this until the mouse comes back to life. Um, but to kind of talk you through, so part of the idea, was that yeah, well, it was October 6th that I started buying, and the idea that I wanted to show was the how the general indexes looked at the time, and the general indexes kind of looked gnarly, for lack of a better word, and it I bel it speaks to why we want to not just look at indexes or anything or look at one thing, but to take the whole thing as a tapestry that we're looking at, and the the stocks were setting up, right? Like so October 6th, the AFRM was setting up. Upstart was setting up, and a few others as well. Um, this mouse is still not working. Yeah,
Want me
sorry
to
about
put a
that.
chart up for you, Mike? Do
What was that?
you want me to share a chart for you?
Um, I'd love to if we could get over uh to switch a screen. Like I can't even move
Oh,
around. Hmm. Yeah, might need to like go grab a battery or something from another room just to see if that's the thing that's causing this. Give me 1 second. I'm gonna try something with the computer over here. Let's see if that reset anything. Nope. Yeah, I'm really sorry that this isn't working. Well, I can still see the comments. So if you guys have questions that you want to ask, go ahead, type them into the chat, and we'll open up the Q&A portion. Something that kind of strikes me as a topic to talk about, given this, is backup plans. Right? So, yeah, for backup plans for trading, I'll have I have multiple brokers in case if one broker goes down, I lose power, I can't get in. Like I have multiple ways to access brokers. I have apps on the phone. I have phone numbers available. Different places where I can log in, like all these different scenarios that could potentially go wrong, plus having stop losses in for every single trade. Um, if something happens and I can't log in, like those are the things that can protect us. Having contingency plans can be very important. Um, yeah, learning that contingency plans are an important part for live streams too. Um, Stu, well, what kind of contingency planning do you do?
Much the same as you, Mike. I do have. I've got a list pinned to the back of my monitor of for the trading desk for the two main brokers, and my contact name there, plus all my account details, so that if something happens that I can't use any electronics, I can at least use my mobile phone and phone the trading desk, ask them about my positions, maybe get me out, whatever. So yeah, that's the kind of key ones I have. I do have a couple of brokers, and I have two sort of two or three separate charting packages and things that I can use if one of the services goes down or whatever. I think I've about covered most of the bases. Right, I've only ever had to use it once, but yeah,
Mm,
I was glad I had done that when that was the case.
all right. Um, yeah, this doesn't seem like it's come back on my keyboard. Doesn't seem like it's working either. So I'm curious if it's just like a weird uh, glitch in the software.
Yeah, I'll give you a tip that my ICT department often gives me, which is switch it off and then switch it back on again.
Yeah, right.
But you'll lose your stream. So
Yeah, switch it off, switch it back on. But yeah, like so that means that we need to call this a day. But yeah, well, we've been on for about half an hour, which is the amount of time that we were planning anyhow. So all right. So for any of you that still have additional questions, feel free to drop them into the chat or into the comments or wherever you're watching. And I see all that stuff. I read all the comments, and we'll be able to get back to you. All right, Stu, thanks for coming on for a while here, giving us some great insights.
yeah,
Akil, thanks for your great questions and comments. And thank you to everybody else that's been here with us. And apologies for the technical glitches.
the gremlins. You're welcome, Mike. Anytime.
All right, all right. Take care. I'll see you in the Discord room.
Okay, perfect. Goodbye.
See ya. Bye. All right, I'm going to do a hard reset of this computer and pick this up later on. Take care, everybody. Peace out.